So good morning, everybody. So with that all being said, guys, today is Sunday, but you know what Sunday this is? It's Palm Sunday. It's the week before Easter. And what I like about the week before Easter is I started thinking about all the things I did when I grew up and what I learned. So if you're on the virtual, say hello to everybody and let them know that we're here at CSL Charlotte, Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte, and we are the Mind Body Spirit Center. So with that, remember, we are going to be talking about what they were all trying to tell us. So next on our platform is our reader, and she's Reverend Sonja. So Reverend Sonja, would you make it do what it do?
Good morning. Thank you. The reading is titled The Remembrance Before the Rising by Reverend Rosedale Jones. Since the very early centuries, before there were rules, before there were labels, before anyone told us what to believe, people were already waking up. Not all at once, just little moments, little realizations, little wait a minute feelings inside. Like there was something more going on, something deeper, something quietly alive within them. And out of that, a few voices rose up. Names we've known like Jesus, Buddha, and Lao Tzu. They came from different places, different times, different centuries, and somehow they all kept pointing us in the same direction. Not out there, not up there, but in here. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Because Jesus said, it is within you. Buddha said, look within. And Lao Tzu basically said, it's in the Tao, the quiet presence of right now. Different personalities, same hints. And when you step back and look at it, you kind of have to ask yourself, what were they trying to tell us? Because it doesn't sound like they were trying to start anything, not a system, not a hierarchy, not a follow me or else situation. It sounds more like they were trying to help people remember something, something simple, something already there. But somehow along the way, we got a little turned around. We were conditioned to look everywhere else but inside ourselves. And maybe, just maybe, we overlooked the one place they kept pointing, right in here. The quiet awareness in you that notices your thoughts, that feels your emotion, that's still there even when everything else is changing. And it's not just spiritual voices noticing this, even people studying the mind saw it. People like Carl Jung. He talked about something deeper in us, something steady. And others spoke the truth about it as a truth that keeps showing up in different ways through different people over and over again. And now, even science is learning and saying they're leaning in and they're saying, wait a minute, at the smallest level, everything is connected. Nothing is really separate. Different languages, it's the quantum field. So here's the invitation. You don't have to believe anything new. You don't have to figure anything out. Just to get a little curious. Get a little curious. Look beyond what you've been told, beyond the roles you play, beyond the stories you heard, and notice what's already here. Believe it or not, something in you is older than your name, deeper than your past, and a lot more powerful than you've been giving it credit for. And when you begin to notice that, something will shift. Not loud, not dramatic, just quietly, you remember. And in that remembering, something in you rises, and you start to know in your own way who you are. Thank you, and so it is.
Let it pass. Oh my goodness. We'll start with a short centering. Relax your eyes by looking really deeply into your lap or just closing the eyelids just for about a minute. Now take a nice deep breath in and allow all of you to expand. And as you let it all out of your air, through your lips, allow your lungs to totally empty and let your body totally reset. Just stay for a moment with that song, "This Too Shall Pass," because I love that phrase and have always loved it, because this is the deal with that. Nothing we feel stays. And there is grace in that, because if pain doesn't stay, we don't get to keep it, and we don't have to keep it because it doesn't stay. And if joy doesn't stay, we learn to appreciate it. And when you're in appreciation, you're in the top level of your emotional scale. And you can manifest there like nobody's business, because what's appreciation but gratitude? This too shall pass. And that is exactly what they were all trying to tell us. So wiggle your fingers and your toes, and when you're ready, integrate your mind, your body, and your spirit, and bring your attention back to where we are and your awareness to what they were all trying to tell us. So what I want to do is I want to begin with a quick story. There was a man, and he spent his entire life just searching for something that he just couldn't quite articulate what he was looking for. He went to a lot of different teachers, ashrams, and he read a lot of books, that anything he could find on self-awareness for himself. He traveled to different places. He sat in different rooms. It sounds pretty much like myself. And he listened to different voices. And every time he left, he felt like he was closer to what he thought he wanted from his own self-awareness. He always felt good. He just never felt quite able to articulate what he wanted. And he just didn't always feel quite there yet. But one day somebody told him, if you really want to find what you're really looking for, go, 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 sit in the silence. Now, that didn't make much sense to him, because in his mind, the answer was out there somewhere. The answer was never in here. Well, how do I know? That's the trust that she said in the song, I trust. This too shall pass. But he was tired, so he went home and he sat down. And then once he did that, for the first time, he stopped searching. Now, at first, I must admit, with all of us, nothing happens. Just noise. Just sounds funny, like squirrel mind. Just thoughts, restlessness. No, relentlessness don't happen right yet, but it does come. But everything in that man wanted to get up and go find something to eat, or go do something. Or, oh, what, did I beat the dog? Oh, wait a minute, did I turn it? Everything was just turning in his head. Maybe I should just take a nap. But something told him, stay. He stayed. And he sat there. And he sat there. But something began to shift, because it wasn't from outside of him. He started recognizing that. He was aware of those thoughts. That's what's the first thing he noticed. Oh yeah, this is what I'm thinking. Oh my goodness. You have to think about that. You gotta wonder what you're thinking. But his emotions also didn't stop. And he began to notice something. He was aware of his emotions too. Now, when you're aware of your thoughts and your emotions, you are one step in the game. So they may have been hard to articulate for him yet, because you know how we first get started in this, the articulation is hard. Even listening to other people try to explain it to you. But he realized something, and he realized something that changed everything for him. What he had been searching for all that time was the one thing, the presence. It was with him every time he went out on a search. It was with him every time he was sitting there reading. It had been with him when he was traveling. That thing was with him when he was confused. And it was even with him when he felt closer to whatever it was he was after. But it never left him. He just never turned around long enough to notice these emotions and these thoughts. And in that moment, he stopped looking. Not because he gave up, but because he recognized. You're going to find out that Jesus was only here to get people to recognize. He wasn't teaching religion, but that's a whole other issue. But what I do is that he recognized that in that moment, what they were all trying to tell us. And that brings us to today. So you heard Soldier give us a little history in the background in the first century. I'm talking about first century, second century. I'm talking about many centuries ago at first. So before that, before there was even any churches, you heard her, and before there was even any doctrines or dogma, any of stuff like that, before people believed anything and started getting anything organized and structured, people were waking up. Bing, bing. So just imagine a big old dark space where lights turn on, bing, and all the country, all across the world, bing, bing. People are waking up, bing, bing. Use that as an analogy so we can understand that it's not just in your little world; it's all over the world. People are waking up. And out of that awakening, there were so many voices that came forward, so many people that understood their voice, so many people that understood what was going on in their selves. Now, we all know the names. You heard about them in the reading. We got Jesus, Lao Tzu, and we have Buddha. Now, I'm sure there were so many more, but to me, those three set me going. Those were my examples of everything, because now I'm really getting it, because I'm saying to myself, exactly what they did, I'm doing. Once I got the knowledge, I'm doing this. There are so many people that are where I am right now that are probably well known in the world, and they're probably not well known in the world, but they're teaching people what they know. And that's the truth. So over time, those words back then that they took from out of the mouths of Jesus, Lao Tzu, and the Buddha, all those words they took, they wrote them down, they translated them, and they reorganized them to control the masses. Did you hear what I said? To control the masses. And anything that they fed our ancestors was also reshaped, redacted, and structured so that this is all you are going to know about these men. And even some of that was limited. I'm going to stop right here, because everybody thinks everything is so fair and it's all above board. If you do, look at your scholars, read from your scholars. If you want to learn something, go pull up those scholars that they write all of those all of the different studies. There's so many of them. I just love it, because I had a question the other day and I said, oh, you know what? I got to find out the answer. But somehow the right message got through everybody. So I remember those three voices because they were very powerful, because they were very instrumental in me getting up and moving forward. But what fascinates me is that these influential teachers, Jesus, Buddha, and Lao Tzu, lived in different cultures. You heard the reading. They lived in different cultures. They spoke different languages. They're from different parts of the world. But what's so amazing also is their teachings. They echoed each other. All of them, strangely enough, spoke with exactness. So how does that happen? These guys were in separate continents of the world, different times, first century, maybe you popped up here in the 3rd century. But you know what? A lot of people came before Jesus' time, but that's neither here nor there. This is what they did. Jesus, one day, as you know, everybody were boys and girls, just like all of us, but everybody act like, oh, I don't know if I can do that, what he did. You can. But anyway, Jesus had an awakening. Buddha, he used to go under the tree as a meditation in India, where he was from. And Lao Tzu, he was all about the Tao, T-A-O, meaning that now. That's the same in here presence. They didn't awaken because they're better than us. They didn't awaken because they're smarter than us. They didn't awaken because they're what that thing people like to say, I'm favored by God. Everybody's favored. They just sat long enough, these 3 men, to notice what we keep overlooking. But I decided to stop overlooking, and I decided to just go ahead and sit. You see, they were born into the same noise that we're born into today. They were no different. They didn't have much better of a life than we did. So stop, because I hear that a lot from my family and friends. See, the reason why you're so good at it, no, don't ration this thing out. The same conditioning you had, they had. The same condition I had, you had. And the same experiences we all have. Jesus, Lao Tzu, and Buddha were raised in the same conditions of this country, of the world, not just this country, because they're not from this country, all of them. But at some point, they became still enough. Maybe it was like what it was for me. The reason that caused me to start becoming still was I was tired of being in the life I was in. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I began digging. And what I was getting in the so-called, well, I don't want to say it like that because it's not fair. Christianity is Christianity. And it works for some people until they realize that, oh, there's more to this. And that's exactly what I did. But anyway, I began to learn that I had to get quiet enough and I had to get honest enough and I had to notice what I had never understood before, with that there's a presence in me that never left me. So it's not something new. This is not something that is always, hiding from me. If I don't dig by sitting down somewhere, then that's on me. Because Jesus, Buddha, and Lao Tzu, they didn't arrive at the truth. The truth was always there. They just stopped moving away from it. And you know how you can move away from it by not sitting down and sitting. I gotta get up because did I lock my car door? You can do, but to sit with yourself. And if you can't sit with yourself, please try to start that. People don't like to sit still and just sit. But I know one thing, when I read the scholars' reports on these guys, when they really saw the truth, they turned into teachers. And you know what they did? They began to describe the indescribable to the people of their day. Different languages, different metaphors, different cultures. And I'm starting to feel that that's a part of what I do now. Yeah, my metaphors are different, but at the same time, I'm getting my point across to people and I'm digging it. Now I'm just seeing what they did. And I'm seeing what many other people are doing right now to help this world. Different cultures, but the location, here's the deal now with all those 3 men, the location of our power was always identical, no different. It's all in here. This is where the power is, baby. Right in here. Not there, Not there, in. It was always in. You can ask yourself, or maybe you just want to ask yourself, what were they all trying to tell us? Think about this. How is it possible that Jesus could live in the, and if you know geography, I had to learn geography over the weekend. But if Jesus lived in the Middle East and the Buddha lived in India and Lao Tzu was in China, they were all separate, right? But also, once in one century, first century, the other ones like approximately the third century, and the other ones is probably in the same century of the third century, but yet all three of them pointed humanity toward the same direction and location in here. There was no, to them, they weren't thinking about, well, let me just tell you it's this way. We're going to take this Bible, even though the Bible is a great record keeper. It's just some of the stories are true. And I'm not trying to be, I'm just being real. Some of the stories could be true. But Jesus said all along, but nobody heard that. I mean, a lot of people didn't hear it. I didn't hear it until I got quiet. The kingdom of God is within you. I heard it, but I don't know if I caught it until I started really sitting. And Buddha said, look within, you are the light. And then Lao Tzu said, the Tao is that quiet now. I'm going to sit down here for 5 whole minutes. I'm not doing anything else, and I'm just going to be quiet. You see, different words, different symbols, different directions, not up, not out, in. They weren't teaching religion. Remember, I said that a couple of minutes ago. Everybody thinks it's about religion. They were teaching recognition, like the man recognized, wait a minute, what were they all trying to tell us? Recognition, they were trying to teach that this one life that breathes through every single form, every tree, every being, every animal. Wow. They taught recognition of awareness, and it was beyond our thoughts, way beyond our logical mind. And they had to get people past that logic, because the logic is being taught to people because they want them to think logical. You ever see how people keep telling each other, let's think logically about this. Oh, that's not your friend. That's funny now, but it is funny when I think about it. Recognition, they taught, of the field. You know, the quantum field, like I always talk about, what Sonja said in the reading, that's the smallest particle in the world. But you know what? It's so small that we cannot see it, even if we had light. But they have more machines that you can see the quantum field with to show us that everything is separate. I mean, nothing is separate. Everything is totally connected. And if you could just imagine what a spider web looks like, and a spider web has all these different pieces coming out to it, that's what's surrounding us. We may not see it. So what I do is I sit down and try to feel it. And if I don't get enough time to feel it, I say, I'll be back. Because nothing is separate from me. And because that's where awareness pulls me in. Now, awareness can pull you in if you sit and let it, but that's how awareness gets to pull me in. It's not loud. It doesn't force me. It doesn't make me feel guilty, but it's steady. And that moment that I stopped looking out there to figure out what was going and became still, that's when I started to feel it. So you get to experience this presence as long as you want to experience it. You jump up every time you feel like I can't, that's on you. You got to do certain things, and everybody's got something different to do. I have all different kind of clients now, and I'm loving the different personalities and different things they need. Some people need their muscles, some people need their body, some people need their mind. But the whole thing, I get to teach all three of them to each one of them in different time frames because they're all different. But we all go inside. I'm just a unique person as far as the world now, as far as fitness world. I have a large following that you probably would think, wow, for real? Yeah, because people are loving that. Oh, I have the mind, I have the body, and I have the spirit. Let me use them all. And I want so bad to teach everybody. And I told them last Wednesday, I said, I'm doing what I love. And what I'm loving is how much you guys appreciate my work and what I do so much that I found out that this is what I'm supposed to do all along. This is what I was always prepping for. This is what all my stillness was about. So when I teach stillness to them, they just go right with it because they understand. Rosedale, my pain is gone. I love that. It takes time. Oh, you know what? That was bothering me. But you believed that you can heal, and then you decided that you're going to do something about it. Oh my God, you my person. We don't have any more false stories that I need to tell people. I never did. We don't have to have someone follow us. So that's how I understood what Jesus, Lao Tzu, and Buddha was doing once they woke up. They probably didn't. Oh, as a matter of fact, I read that Jesus was 14 when he started doing his awakenings and going to meditations. Did you know that? Well, it's just interesting that nobody puts meditation as the thing. And the truth that they discovered was not a secret. They did not keep it a secret. They went out and told everybody what they know. I will tell everybody what I know until I'm 150. I will. And those that listen to me, fine. Those that don't listen to me, fine. It's not about whether you listen to me or not. I just know I'm going to have to tell you. So it's asking you this power, this presence, whatever you have surrounding you, and it is nothing but a big, beautiful mass. It really is. Mass, M-A-S. But you know what? Like Sonja said in the reading, humanity got sidetracked because these intelligent people back in the day, what they call it, the grandfathers, that annoys me. It's not about men all the time, but they call it the grandfathers of what do they call it? They call them these men that wrote these Bibles and wrote these things to get everybody to follow. It was all so that they can do whatever they did. But look, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about you and me. It's this power is not asking us to notice anything. It's just asking us to sit, because what they were doing was telling us that you need to get out and go do some work because you don't have this. They just did it in such a funky way. And now, who else is coming in play? And it's not intentional for all of them. It's just that this is what they were taught. Doctors are taught, just give them something because they're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything with their body. So let me just give them some drugs and keep them quiet, and then you got a whole bunch of people just going like sheep. We were trained to look out there. Maybe the doctor could tell me. And they're so proud to say that my doctor doesn't like that. My doctor was proud of me. Everybody's trained to look at the authority. Who's the authority over you? But Jesus, Lao Tzu, and Buddha, they said the opposite. They said, what? Go within. They said, what else? Wake up. They said, what else? Remember who you are. Huh? What else can you do? What can you do now that you know this? Well, I can give you some hints. You can sit and repeatedly ask this question to yourself. What were they all trying to tell us that I somehow missed? What? And you can do it over and over and over. And guess what? You'll always find something new that they were trying to tell us through you, because it's going to come out. And that's why when I go, oh, You got more money coming in. Let me just tell you what to do. Go call up this and get this started. Here, let's start writing this. Now we're going to write this. Now, do you know that those people, that program I wrote, and it's being very successful. It's 4 weeks. It's so amazing. Life is so awesome because I decided to sit and listen. 4 weeks in this program I wrote, they've asked me to give it to them because it's very successful. I said, I can't believe this man fixed his lips to tell me, why don't you donate it to us? We love this program you're doing. It's fantastic, but that's not why I did it. For my own income, thank you. But I want you to think about what I just said. Sit and repeatedly ask yourself this question. What were they all trying to tell us that I somehow missed? I still can say that I somehow missed. Because I'm always gonna come back and find out, oh, really? Okay, let's go do that. Just this morning, I said, oh, okay, we're gonna do that. Because I love life, and I'm just gonna sit still in the morning. I'm not gonna go popping up because I gotta go run and do this thing because I'm not gonna get up I'm gonna get up when I'm ready. I'm gonna sit right here. Because science calls the quantum field the invisible web that connects all pieces. And I know what time, and I told them that the other day. The time of day that everything happens for me, I told my group, is 3, 4 in the morning. Now you find out what time of day works for you, and you're gonna see. And I said, wow. So I asked them, what happened when you finished the practice that I told you to do with your calf muscles? The pain is gone. I said, well, what happened when you decided to keep doing this for all these weeks? What happened? I'm stronger. I pick up higher weights now. I went from 3 pounds to 5 pounds. You think 5 pounds is no big deal, but it is for somebody who's where they are. Everybody that I deal with is in a place, different places. Where they are, they want to go somewhere else. So they said the same thing, all 3 men. They just said them in different ways. But guess what? Buddha called it this illusion of the self. Jesus called it losing your life to find it. And Lao Tzu called it returning to the now. I call it my oneness with spirit. And now science is also echoing this big, what they were all trying to tell us. That's just right. Because you know why? Why do you think we have quantum physicists? Because they know. They know that the smallest level, everything is connected. They know that nothing is truly separate. And here's this guy. I love his quote, Alan Watts. He said it so beautifully. He said, a wave is not separate from the ocean. He said it's the ocean waving. When I said that, when I read that, it hit me like, see, that's what I'm saying. You feel it, experience these people. It's not the waves, it's the ocean waving at you. And I get to hear those wild sounds. They move my energy, they move my emotions, they let me feel it. And then you give yourself that final listen and ask yourself again, what were they all trying to tell us about this fabulous body that I live in? But let me tell you how I came to understand that. Because you see, I see life, I see the world, and I see everything with a different reality. And the reality is something we cannot see. But the reality is either, to me, an emotional scale. You need to know what, remember I said about the thoughts? You need to know where you are if you want to get out of it. And also, you got a radio frequency. So think about it. Whatever frequency you're tuned into, that's what you see in your life. That's what you feel. That's all you get. What you see, what you feel is what you get. Right? Remember Flip Wilson? What you see is what you get. But when I'm tuned into my joy, I don't hear the person that's in anger because that's a different level for me. I can't go there and I can't remain there. This too shall pass. You heard the song. I can't remain there. And so what happened is I decided to choose joy when I find myself going down there to the anger thing. So what happens is the only time I may be in the same consciousness with somebody as if I'm in the anger level with a person that's angry. Or I can be in the joy level, which mostly happens with somebody that's joyful, because that's the place, my frequency. I like that frequency. But here's the thing. I no longer can even comprehend a person that's angry. No more than a person that's angry can comprehend where I am, because what they do is that person that's angry would say, how in the world could she be? And I hear that often, even though I don't say that they're angry, I just say they're just not, they may be in another place on the emotional scale. They don't have to be angry, but they may say, why are you so happy all the time? Okay, that means that they're in a different emotion, but I just think that's pretty cool, because I understand why I'm so happy all the time, because I keep going back to my level and my emotional scale, because either that or my frequency, because from where they stand, that's what they're asking. How can you be so happy with the state of this world? Because the world is not in my backyard, nor is the world in my house. The world is in me, but it's my oneness with spirit. Now, you could call it what you want. They called it the illusion of the self. You know, everybody had a different name for it. So the answer is simple. We're not in the same place consciously. And we're not oh yeah, and here's another thing. We're in the same world, but check this out, but we're on different frequencies, right? We are in the same life. We can grow up in the same house, but a different experience of that house. Get it? But here's the truth to all of that. You don't have to come up to the level that I'm at, and I'm definitely not going down any more ranks on that ladder, because I refuse to go there. This is good for me, but that's okay, because I would never tell somebody that they're wrong for being on that level, or they're wrong for giving up on life. They're not wrong as far as they're concerned. So I honor what they say about themselves. And you know what? This is what they were all trying to tell us. So I look at life with that emotional scale. So what about you? Can it help you remember when you're out of tune, or when you're not leveling up with yourself? Because here's the truth. Jesus did not come here to find followers. He came here to create independent thinkers. That's why he was assassinated. Because in the Middle East, they did not tolerate that, because it would make them think that this person is a threat. And he was creating people who were thinking for themselves. Whereas China and India were much more freer enterprises, and they always were highly spiritual. So their people can have their own mindsets, can run any kind of community they choose. Every truth, every awakening, every remembrance, the reading Remembrance, it all comes down to this. You were never meant to worship something outside of you. You were meant to recognize what lives inside of you. And those great teachers did not point up, they pointed in. And if you follow that source, you then know what breathes you, what moves you, and what lives as you. And then when you decide that real truth, not as a belief, but as truth, you can experience some small little shifts. So stop searching, stop shrinking back so that people will, feel bad. It's not for you. Don't shrink back. Get up. You must develop a new recognition. And I did, and you can. So with that being said, I know who I am. We're leading up to that next song. I am the one that lives with the one that lives in me. So as we move into these lyrics are going to be so powerful. This song carries a language that many people are going to say, oh, wow. Listen, it may sound familiar, but let yourself hear it differently today. It's not as a worship. It's not a separation. It's not he out there. It's not that, but just listen to the song, because it is this. And I want you to hear this, and I want you to create this in your mind as you hear the song. It's the I am in here thing. That's what it is. So let the rhythm and the lyrics anchor you and let the words awaken you. When you give, you just have to understand this and you got to know what you're doing. You are making an investment in consciousness. I'm saying that and I mean it because you aren't just saying, oh, I'll just donate to CSL Charlotte. You are investing in a consciousness because I'm going to hold this consciousness with us and we're going to hold it. And this power that we got changes the world. Now you see what has happened just by many people waking up, many people getting what's going on through what they were all trying to tell us. Because when you invest, that's what you're doing. You're supporting what they were all trying to tell us because it's going to awaken you and other people. So that's a win-win situation right there. You're also saying that I'm not speaking. You could see that. I'm not reading a book to you. I'm telling you something that I lived. This is experience that I have lived and continue to live. I live and I speak what they all have been trying to tell us. And your investment strengthen that knowledge that they left for us and they continue to leave because this that we're leaving behind, we're leaving it to our whatever. We got ancestors, right? So we're doing that as well. So when you soften up, you let your guard down, you send out your resources to circulate, you are definitely improving CSL Charlotte, keeping us on the map. So that's a beautiful thing. But the thing is, it flows in your life too if you use it. You just have to use it. And as you align with giving plus being in this flow, you position yourself automatically to change. You heal, you prosper, and you do all of this right along with it. So give yourself this thought and ask yourself this question. Am I really ready to support a place where people are not just taught what they were trying to tell us, but they are transformed by practicing it? Because if you don't know what transformation is, look at me. That's all I can tell you. Thank you for everyone who have strengthened what they've all taught us through your giving. And thank you for helping us with this language that they all spoke, what they were all trying to tell us. Thank you. So as we wrap up our time together, let's start to remember that there's a practice, but let's start practicing what they were all trying to tell us. They said a lot of different practices. Just go ahead and look it up. You can do it. What they were all trying to tell us is how to learn that language that they had. We can learn it. It's been with us all along. So with that, keep listening and keep trying to hear. Keep sitting still. Keep trying to figure out what it was they were all trying to tell us. And you are now, have to remember, you are now in control of your own mind. And just remember this, the universe is always supporting you on your journey. And until we meet again, keep practicing what they were all trying to tell us. And so it is.